So in this video, we're going to be comparing the Pocket 6K to the Red Scarlet Dragon. Let's go ahead and get started. Now the first thing we're going to talk about is dynamic range. Now on paper, the Red Scarlet Dragon has about 16 plus stops of dynamic range, while the Pocket 6K BMD is claiming 13 stops. I didn't do a scientific test, but I can tell you that the Red Scarlet Dragon outdoors when shooting, you can definitely tell the dynamic range is a little bit better than the Pocket 6K, especially when you're looking at highlights. The next thing we're going to talk about is highlight recovery. Even though the Red Scarlet Dragon has better dynamic range, the Pocket 6K does the highlight recovery much better. Even at 4 stops over, I can recover on the Pocket 6K a lot better than I could with the Red Scarlet Dragon. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is color science. Now I know the Blackmagic design is still working on the color science on the Blackmagic design cameras, and they're also working on their Rec 709 LUTs or their color profiles. So in a way, Red has a little bit more of an edge when it comes to color science and Rec 709 LUTs or color profiles, whatever you want to call it, especially with IPP2. It looks absolutely amazing. I know when I posted a video last week about these two cameras, a lot of people were fighting over the greens on the two cameras. Some prefer the Red Scarlet and some prefer the Pocket 6K. What I can tell you is that the Pocket 6K does render the greens a little bit more realistic than the Red Scarlet Dragon, but there are a lot of people out there that actually like the way the Red Dragon renders green than the Pocket 6K. So it really boils down to just preference. Now the Pocket 6K, I've said this a million times before, I love the extended video dynamic range that they have, but for indoor use like this, I really don't like it. It looks so video-ish for me. All right, the next thing we're gonna cover is recording options. I'm gonna have to give this to the Pocket 6K just because it has Blackmagic RAW and it has ProRes. Now on the Red Scarlet Dragon, you are only going to be recording at Red Camera Raw. On top of that, the Pocket 6K has a lot of ProRes options for you and Blackmagic RAW flavors. All right, which brings us to the next topic, which is media cost. Now, as you all know, Red cameras have their proprietary SSD cards that they sell for a really high price. On the other hand, Pocket 6K, like the Pocket 4K, you can record in an SSD drive or SSD card or CFast 2.0 cards. So when it comes to media options, I'm gonna have to give it to the Pocket 6K. Next topic we're gonna talk about is size and weight. The body only on the Red Scarlet Dragon weighs around 5 pounds. The body on the Pocket 6K weighs around 1.98 pounds. Also to note, the Red Scarlet Dragon brain, that's literally just the brain. It doesn't have a screen, it doesn't have any way to control the camera, and it doesn't have a mount. So 5 pounds brain only compared to the Pocket 6K 1.98 pounds. That includes screen, that includes the way you control it because it's touchscreen, that includes a mount. Pretty much the only thing you'll need to put in the Pocket 6K is a battery and a lens and you're good to go. With the Red Scarlet Dragon, the brain at 5 pounds, you're gonna need some screen, the way to control it, and especially battery. Which brings us to the next topic of power options. Like I mentioned, the Red Scarlet Dragon, you can use V-mount batteries, Anton Bauer batteries. The Pocket 6K, you can use Canon LPE6 batteries or V-mount batteries plugged into the little input on the side of the camera. So I'm gonna have to give this to the Pocket 6K because if you need something really lightweight, I know the Canon LPE6 doesn't really last that long, but at the same time, you have that option to get that handheld without having to carry a lot of V-mount battery or having to carry a lot of weight. Which again ties up to the next topic of gimbal options. As you can see, if the Red Scarlet Dragon weighs 5 pounds brain only, you can probably imagine that with this thing rigged up, you're not going to be able to use a single pistol style stabilizer, which is very popular nowadays. There's so many single hand pistol style stabilizer nowadays. You can't use the Red Scarlet Dragon on a freaking Ronin S unless you do some kind of modification. It's gonna be weird. But on the Pocket 6K, you can use the Ronin S, the Ronin SC if you really want to, and pretty much all the small handheld pistol style stabilizer you can use with the Pocket 6K. All right, next topic we're gonna talk about is frame rate or slow motion. The Red Scarlet Dragon can shoot 5K 48 frames per second, while the Pocket 6K can shoot 6K at 50 frames per second maximum at BRAW. Now, you gotta remember the compression rates on the Red Scarlet Dragon when you are shooting at higher frame rates, so you just gotta keep that in mind. You are gonna lose some compression rate because that's the maximum that you can get with the Red Scarlet Dragon. With the Pocket 6K, you can shoot Q5 quality, you can shoot multiple versions of ProRes and B-raw, different flavors of B-raw and slow motion. So I'm gonna have to give it to the Pocket 6K because you do have a lot of options. You can even shoot 2.8K at 120 frames per second, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. Next topic is menu. Now, as you all know, I know I'm probably gonna sound biased, I absolutely love the menu system on the Blackmagic design cameras. It's very simple, it's laid out perfectly. Now on the Red Scarlet Dragon, I know it has a little bit more features, but it's pretty darn crazy navigating through the menu on the Red Scarlet Dragon. So menu system, I'm gonna have to give it to the Blackmagic design because it's so simple and it's just pages instead of layers and trees of menus. Which brings us to features on the camera itself. I'm talking about special features. Now, I'm gonna have to give this to the Red Scarlet Dragon because, oh my God, the freaking focus assist on the Red Scarlet Dragon is absolutely fantastic. On the focus assist on the Pocket 6K, not so much. The Red Scarlet Dragon does have a lot more features for you as far as exposure tools. The Pocket 6K doesn't have as much features as the Red Scarlet Dragon, so if we're talking extra features on the camera, I'm gonna have to give it to the Red Scarlet Dragon. Okay, next thing we're gonna talk about is low light conditions. Oh my goodness, it's crazy because back then, somebody can argue that cinema cameras are not meant to be good in low light conditions, but now that area is just getting grayer by the minute because of cinema cameras having dual native ISOs. Looking at both of these cameras in low light condition, it's crazy how technology has evolved. I'm gonna have to absolutely give it to the Pocket 6K because, man, that dual native ISO really makes a difference. Even at ISO 3200, it's so clean. ISO 3200 on a Red Scarlet Dragon is just not usable in my opinion. Now, I know this is an older camera and I'm curious to freaking test this Pocket 6K against a Gemini, which has dual native ISO in a way, but renting that is like $1,700 a week. That's just so much money that I can't really spend on. Because right now, as far as low light goes, the Pocket 6K just destroys the Red Scarlet Dragon hands down. So a good comparison when low light would probably be against the Pocket 6K and a Red Gemini. All right, let's talk about screen. The Red Scarlet Dragon does not have a screen built in on the camera. Like I said earlier, the Pocket 6K has a 5-inch display in the back, which is touchscreen. So obviously the Pocket 6K is gonna win this one because it actually has a screen on the body itself. All right, next topic we're gonna talk about is audio inputs. The Pocket 6K has mini XLRs. It has a 3.5mm audio input as well. The Red Scarlet Dragon has two funky 3.5mm in the front of the camera, which is just a pain in the butt to use. The Red Scarlet Dragon also does not record scratch audio, so you're gonna need some type of mic if you're trying to get some audio out of this camera. The Pocket 6K has a built-in microphone on the actual camera itself, so you don't technically need a microphone if you just need scratch audio. All right guys, so let's talk about the verdict. Who wins this comparison? September 2019 right now, the price of the Red Scarlet Dragon is still pretty high at $7,000 to $8,000, while the Pocket 6K's price point is still $2,400, and it's brand new. The Red Scarlet Dragon that's used, if you're lucky, you can get a package deal. Now, I know a lot of people are saying this is such an old camera, why would you compare it? But at the same time, it's still $8,000. People out there still thinks that this camera is worth almost 3 or 4 times than the Pocket 6K. So I think it's still a good comparison. I hope you guys learned something new today, and I'm kind of curious to see if you guys agree with me on how my verdict is.